Welcome back to Wire with Nolan RECC. Today we're hearing from Price Smith. He's the board chair with Operation Roundup. Price, thanks for joining me. We are at the LaRue County Public Library, but we'll get to that in just a second. We're starting today our conversation that we have every year that is so exciting about Operation Roundup. So I'm grateful, first of all, that you would meet me here in this lovely location. We thought we'd do a little something different this year, right?
Right.
So for those that are just now learning about Operation Roundup, I'd love for you to just give us just a general overview, a brief overview of what is Operation Roundup.
Okay, sure. So Operation Roundup was started by the NOLN Board of Directors in 2006. It is a voluntary program where NOLN RECC members can voluntarily round up their electric bills to the next highest dollar.
Right.
And then those pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters all come together in a fund, and the NOLN Operation Roundup Board of Directors administers that fund and grants it out to community projects and groups.
And you talked about NOLN members rounding up. Again, it's a voluntary program, you said that, and that doesn't equal very much. If you're rounding up to the nearest dollar, at the very most, that's 99 cents a month. But on average, it's not even that, right?
That's right. The average donation is $6 per year.
A whole year.
A whole year.
Yeah.
And so your bills just rounded up, you never really notice it.
Right. It is small change.
Right. And but that small change has added up to a lot over time. So since the program began, we've granted almost $300,000 back to the communities.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
We're really excited about that.
I mean, I know I participate in Operation Roundup, and I think last month it was like 3 cents. But to think that kind of change, together with the 6,000 plus members at NOLN.
Right. We've got over 6,400 members participating. So that in itself is a testament to the belief that it's a good program.
Yeah.
And so yes, this is our time of year where we're accepting grants.
Okay, so people can apply. These are, you call them community impact grants. Talk about why you call them that.
Well, one, we want the groups that are applying for these grants to be community oriented, okay? And we want the grants that we're giving to have the most impact as possible.
Okay.
So that's why we kind of call it a community impact grant. We want what we grant to these groups to affect and benefit as many people as possible.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the application process here in just a little bit. But before we do, I want you to kind of walk through some of the projects that have gotten grant funding. So people might be thinking, well, I do this with my organization and I don't know if it kind of qualifies. What kinds of programs are you looking for?
So the best way to answer that is to give you kind of a list of those we have granted in the past. One here locally is the Shepherd's Pie Food Pantry.
Right.
We have granted CASA of the Heartland. We've given grants to Feeding America, the Red Cross, local area schools in Hardin and LaRue counties, the softball league over in Hardin County, and where we're standing now, which is the LaRue County Public Library. We granted them for the first time last year.
So Friends of the LaRue County Public Library had written this grant, and so talk a little bit about that, because I think it's really interesting to think of kind of where that money went and how much they got versus maybe some of the other projects, because one of the questions we get a lot is, how much can I apply for?
So you can apply for, we have the authority to grant up to $10,000. Okay. But we take all sizes of grants below that amount. For instance, the Friends of the LaRue County Public Library last year, we granted them $500 to help with supplies for their summer reading program. And that was a relatively small grant.
Right, yeah.
But small ones are beneficial too.
Oh, and think about how many kids get impacted with just a $500 grant through that summer reading program.
Right. And that's touching lives, and it's being meaningful to what those children are learning.
Yeah, and so that's kind of on the small grant side. Now we're heading someplace in a little bit that is going to be on the larger grant side.
Right. And that one was for the Community Health Clinic. We granted them about $8,700 for a dental x-ray machine with some software to go with it. So that was a more substantial grant.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will impact people too.
Right.
And I think we're going to visit them a little later.
We are, and I can't wait to see kind of what their space looks like there, and we'll talk. We will move there to kind of talk a little bit more about the specifics about what are you looking for in the grants, and there's, I mean, you have a really pretty simple process. It's not, I mean, it is involved in terms of having to get a lot of information together, but once you get all that together, putting that in and getting that done it really is. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard,
yeah.
no. But we do want you to go through the process.
Yeah, and
we'll
so
talk more about that.
We will. So thanks for joining me here at the library, and we'll head over to the Community Health Clinic and finish up our conversation.
Sounds good.
All right.
And I'm at the Community Health Clinic in Elizabethtown with Interim Executive Director Jessica Daly. How are you?
I'm doing
Good.
well.
Thank you for joining us today. The Community Health Clinic was one of our grant recipients from 2022. Jessica, you want to tell us what you were granted from Operation Roundup?
We were granted roughly $8,700. That was something amazing for us to get. We were in the process of opening our dental clinic, and with the funds that we got from the Nolan Operation Roundup grant, we were able to purchase the intraoral x-ray as well as our dental software. So very important key pieces of our program.
Good. How many people do you plan on serving with that equipment?
Oh gosh. Well, we have roughly around 700 patients of the clinic. And I'm sure each and every one of those, plus more, will be assisted because we'll be able to do their cleanings, their dental hygiene annually, plus take in other patients that don't have dental insurance.
Yeah, and x-rays are always a big part of your dental exams.
Oh yes,
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're in the season of us opening the time frame for grants for 2023, and the Community Health Clinic obviously got a grant last year. Any tips, tricks, advice that you would have for those folks that are, or groups that are looking at completing an application for this year?
I would say to make sure that you use as much detail as possible. Of course, those that are donating to the funds want to know exactly where their money is going to go, who they're going to be able to help. So I would definitely just say make sure you keep those key points in there and use as much detail as possible.
Right. It really is that group's opportunity to tell their story.
Yes.
And present their case for why they need the funds and how they'll be used. So yeah, that's important.
Absolutely.
So as the interim director, how does it make you feel that Nolan members are voluntarily having their electric bills rounded up and those funds are granted out into the community? How does that make you feel?
It definitely warms my heart to know that, people look at it as, oh, well, it's just some change. Well, yeah, but if you add all of that change up, look what it equals. You can help so many people just by giving just a little bit each month extra. And so we are grateful and very appreciative of those who have chosen to do the Roundup program.
Very good. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, sir.
So still in the Community Health Clinic, and of course this place is such an amazing community asset because they're really working with people who are uninsured, underinsured. They provide clinic services and obviously the dental program that you talked to her about. I mean, what an amazing opportunity for this community.
Yeah, and you could tell by Jessica's reaction that they were just almost overwhelmed that they were granted last year.
Yeah.
And the opportunities that gives them as far as service. So
Exactly.
really is a win-win
It
for
is.
the community.
It is. And so what we're wanting to do today with this video is just to help people understand, first of all, what Operation Roundup is, but to really get into some of these projects that people are saying, well, what kind of projects do you fund and how do I go about doing it? Well, that's what this is about. And so let's talk a little bit more about just the specifics. Okay, how do we get into this process? How do people apply?
So the window for grant applications is open. Okay, now is the time. and we're marketing these to groups that serve as many people as possible, and charitable groups, that kind of thing.
Right.
So we're looking for specifics. It is that group's time to relay to the Operation Roundup board their mission, their passion for what they need, how the funds are going to be used, how much they need.
Exactly.
And that's what we're targeting. The more specific they can be, the more thorough, the better.
So they want, you guys would love to see budget and what's the next year going to look like? How are we going to get there? Those just really specific things.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's okay to dream, but we also have to be accountable to the members of NOLN and their donations.
Exactly.
So that's what the board does, is we have to balance the dream with the actual.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and we want to be as accurate as we can, and we want the groups to be as upfront as they can. We don't want to hinder anyone. We want them to be able to grow through this. So the applications are available. They can get them on the NOLN RECC website. They can get one by calling the office, and just fill it out. The deadline is May 1st.
May 1st.
And that's when we got to have it.
All right, so the website, of course, is nolinrecc.com. The phone number is 270-765-6153. We've got that there on the screen for people to see. And you can download a PDF of that on our website, on the webpage, and then also just pick up there's a paper copy there in the office too. So I had a phone call. Somebody was like, well, I just really think a paper copy would be easier for my board to work on. Awesome. That's perfectly fine. So we have an easy online form and we have an easy paper form, but either way, it's super accessible, and just you got to tell your story and get those details.
And one thing we do want to point out is no grant is too small. We do have a $10,000 threshold, but just because you say, well, we're a small group, we only need this small amount. Don't let that stop you.
Right.
We have granted as small as, I think the smallest we ever granted was like $179.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
To a group a number of years ago. So we're open to it.
Right.
And if you've done a grant before, whether or not you were approved, go ahead and try another one, because needs come around.
That's right.
Even with groups that are established.
That's right. And as Jessica said, I think it was a great pointer. You do as many specifics as possible, but then, like they do, they serve so many people. So, as many people as you can reach, that's the kind of program you're looking for.
That's
so
right.
if you think, well, there's a couple things I may want to apply for, find the one that you think is going to reach the most people. It's going to have the biggest impact, and really kind of shoot for that one, right?
Right. That's right.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to me today.
Yeah,
and
thank you,
of
Sarah.
course, again, if anyone has questions, nolinrecc.com, 270-765-6153 is the phone number. Go online, get that application, or come by one of our offices at NOLN, and we'll get you started with the process. And good luck this year. I can't wait to see what kind of response you guys are going to get.
We too. We look forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for Wire to Wire with NOLN RECC.